Good evening. I call the May 27, 2025 regular board meeting of the Richland 2 Board of Trustees to order. The agenda for tonight's meeting has been published and made available. May I please have a motion regarding the approval of the agenda?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mrs. Porter.
I move to approve the agenda for the May 27, 2025 regular board meeting with the exception of item 5.3, continuous improvement plan update, which district administration has requested be deferred to the June 10th, 2025 meeting.
The motion has been made by Mrs. Porter. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been made by Mrs. Porter and seconded by Mr. Dennis to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? Board members, any discussion? Seeing none, please vote. We do have Mrs. Nash who has joined us. She is on the telephone with us. Mrs. Nash, are you able to vote? She has voted, okay.
I'm
Is the
here.
motion correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
The vote is 7 yes, 0 no. The motion passes. We will now move to item 3.1, executive session. May I please have a motion to go into executive session?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mrs. Washington?
I move to convene an executive session for the purpose of discussing student appeals, student admission requests into the district's adult education program, and employment recommendations and certified releases.
The motion has been made by Mrs. Washington. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been made by Mrs. Washington and seconded by Mr. Dennis. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, board members, please vote. Is the motion correct? Okay. The vote is 7 yes, 0 no. The motion passes. The board will now enter into executive session. May I have a motion to end the executive session?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mrs. Porter.
I move that we adjourn executive session at 6:18 p.m. and resume public session.
The motion has been made by Mrs. Porter. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been made by Mrs. Porter and seconded by Mr. Dennis to end executive session at 6:18 and resume public session. Is there any discussion? And for those who are watching, we do have Mrs. Nash on the line with us this evening. Board members, any discussion? Seeing none, please vote. The motion is 7 yes, 0 no. The motion passes. We will now move into inspirational moment, Pledge of Allegiance. We will have Mr. Shelby Moses. Mr. Moses is a proud graduate of Richland School District 2 and has dedicated the past 13 years to serving in the field of education. He earned his undergraduate degree in middle-level education from Francis Marion University and a master's degree in educational leadership and supervision from Queen's University in Charlotte. Mr. Mosley began his teaching career at Southeast Middle School in Richland School District 1. And I'm going to pause right there for a second, because actually that's where I met Mr. Mosley. He was a first or second year teacher, and we were colleagues at Southeast Middle School. And I said to him when I first met him, I said, "You are already ready for administration. I mean, just the respect that he had of those young middle school students. They looked to him as like a father figure. He was such a positive role model and had outstanding classroom management, where I witnessed so many of the veteran teachers asking Mr. Mosley to come into their class or to hold their students or to work with their students. And I told him, I said, I'll look forward to the day that I get to see you in administration. Didn't realize it was going to happen with both of us back here in Richland too. So I would continue. Sorry, I digressed for a minute. Where Mr. Mosley taught English language arts and social studies for 3 years and also served as the boys basketball coach. He then continued his work in both the classroom and on the court at Chapin Middle School for the next 4 years. Following his time in the classroom, Mr. Moses transitioned into school leadership as the assistant principal of instruction at the Alternative Academy for Success in Lexington, Richland 5, a role that he held for 3 years. He is currently in his 3rd year serving as the 7th grade assistant principal at Muller Road Middle School. In his free time, let me say that again. He doesn't have a whole lot of free time, but in his free time, Mr. Moses enjoyed traveling, working out, playing and watching sports, and spending quality time with his beautiful family and friends. His ultimate goal is to make a meaningful and lasting impact on the lives of young people, and I've already witnessed that, so I know you have many more great things to do with our young people. Mr. Mosley.
Thank you. And now for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah, right.
I'll give y'all a shout out in just a second, I promise. Please rise. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Now he's going to do his presentation.
Good evening, everyone. Before I get started, I do want to say thank you to Dr. Moore, as well as Dr. Scott for having me here today. Thank you, board members, for giving me this opportunity to just speak with you guys momentarily. Just wanted to talk a little bit today about purpose-driven, future-ready. I did have a presentation. Let me see if I can get this thing to work real quick. Okay, it might not work. I'm not sure. Do y'all have the presentation? Okay, y'all have the presentation. Okay, and that's perfectly fine.
You sent that to Ms. Tanidra, so they should have the presentation. It was sent.
All right, so again, I wanted to talk a little bit today about purpose-driven, future-ready. I know that is our theme with our district. The kids know it, the teachers know it, all of our stakeholders know what that means. But I wanted to talk about it a little bit deeper because I believe that this is a mindset and mentality, and it's deeper than the theme. This is something that can help lead to the success and continued success of not just our students, but also our internal and external stakeholders. And it's something that we can carry with us in life as well. So I wanted to start off by showing my report card from my junior year in high school. Now, some of y'all might be wondering, well, why does this old guy have a report card from his junior year in high school? What you'll see if they are able to get it up is that I flunked my junior year in high school, right? I failed 3 of my 4 classes, my core classes. I had 9s, I had 10s, I had 40s on that report card. This is well before grading floors was a thing, right? So the grade that you got was the grade that you got. I think we all understand that. Now, when you look at my report card, that was not an indication of my potential, right? That was not, the grades I received was not because I wasn't capable. You know, the grades I received was because at that time, my junior year, I didn't know what my purpose was, all right? I was lost. I'm just be honest with you. I was very lost my junior year of high school. I didn't know if I was going to continue high school. I had thoughts of dropping out of high school. But what ended up changing that was I met an adult. I met a teacher, one of the teachers at the school. Her name was Carlena Davis. You know, she before she passed, she was probably the best teacher I've ever encountered in my life. What she did one day, because one thing that everybody said about me when I was growing up was I was either in trouble, fresh out of trouble, or about to get into some more trouble. And it was true. You know, that's something I never argued with anybody on. But she grabbed my hand one day and she said, "Mr. Moses, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life?" She told me, "I've ran across many students, but I've never seen many as impersonable as you. But you use your personality for all of the wrong things, right?" And she said, "Although I'm not your teacher right now, because I had her my freshman year, and she still kind of kept tabs on me, she grabbed my hand and said, 'I'm going to get you across that finish line.' She said, 'I don't care if I have to drag you across it myself, I'm going to get you across that finish line.' She said, 'Why are you here? What are you doing? Okay? What is your why?' That's what she asked me. And I couldn't tell her at the time. And I figured this was just going to be a one-time conversation. I was wrong. She told me this every day. She asked me the same questions. And eventually, the light bulb came on, right? She ignited a fire in me that still to this day, I still have. So I stand before you guys as a school leader saying that I still have that fire within me, and I am trying to light that same fire with all of our students that we have. Every student that I encounter, my goal is to light that fire and help them understand that they need to be purpose-driven, future-ready. Because at the time when I was a junior in high school, I had no purpose. I had no drive, okay? I was lost, okay? And because I didn't have a drive and I didn't have a purpose, I was not future-ready, okay? I was not future-ready until it took a teacher to light that fire in me, but it also took members of my community to help light that fire in me, to help me understand this is what I need to be able to do in life to be successful. I have to be able to discover what my purpose is. I have to have the drive to fulfill that purpose. And by doing that, I will then be able to be future ready. Okay? So I wanted to break down those words, what that means to me, because I think this is important, not just for kids, but us as adults as well, because we have just as much stake in planting those seeds in our children as the community before us and our elders have done for us. So purpose, again, what is your why? I ask my students that every day, what is your why? Why do you get up in the morning? Why do you come to school? Okay, what are your goals in life? Okay, your why could be to be the first doctor in your family, the first engineer, be the first student to go to college in your family. Your why could be you want to help people. You want to bring people together. What is your why? Once you figured out your why, that's step one, okay? Step two is the drive, okay? Purpose-driven. I have to have the drive and determination to fulfill my purpose. Anybody can wake up one day and say, I want to be an engineer. I want to be a teacher. I want to be this or that, okay? But do you have the drive to fulfill that purpose that you have set for yourself? If you do not have the drive to do that, it's just a dream, right? So do you have that drive? Do you have that will and determination to do your best and to put your best foot forward even when nobody's looking, right? I tell my kids all the time, don't do your best because you want a reward, because you're not going to always get rewarded for your best work. Do your best because you want to be the best. Do your best when nobody's looking because that builds character. Have that drive because every day is not going to be a smooth day. Every day is not going to be an easy day. Show that drive, show that determination, and what you do in the dark, it's going to come out the light. People talk more about what you do versus what you say. So your determination is going to show more than anything that you can ever say. So show that drive. Purpose-driven. Future. Okay? Everybody says, well, the future is tomorrow. The future is next week or it's next year. The future starts now. I always ask my kids, again, what you want to do when you grow up? Okay, all right. Are you planting the seeds today for what you want to do tomorrow? Okay? Are the decisions that you are making today, are the choices that you're making today, is it going to get you one step closer or one step further from your goal? Okay? The future is a blank canvas, and you're drawing all over it. So every decision that you make on that canvas, it points you either in the right direction or it points you in the opposite direction. The future starts now. Okay? We can't wait until tomorrow. We have to plant those seeds today because tomorrow's not promised. And when tomorrow does get here, somebody's going to ask you, well, are you prepared? Okay? And if you're not, well, you haven't done anything. Ready. That's the last step. Ready. Okay? Being ready doesn't always necessarily mean that you have all the answers to all the questions. Being ready means that you are prepared to learn. You are prepared to grow, whether it's as a leader, as a mentor, whatever avenue that is. Okay? That means you are ready to assume that role and whatever responsibilities come with that role. It means that once you've assumed that role, that you are still willing to learn, because we never stop learning. When you stop learning, you stop growing. Okay? If you can't grow, how can you lead other people if you can't grow yourself? So are you ready? Purpose-driven, future-ready. These are words that to some people, they may feel it's a theme just because it's the theme of the district. But I feel like this is a mindset. This is a lifestyle that can breed success and continued success, not only for our students, but for our parents, for our board members, for everyone in this room, anyone who's listening to this today. So the last thing I wanted to talk about was the call to action. So how do we do this? How do we make sure that we are all truly purpose-driven and future-ready? Well, it's a couple of things that we can do. First, parents, board members, students, okay? We have to remember we are all on the same team. Every educator that comes into a building, whether it's a school building, whether it's a district office, we are all here for the same reason. We want to see students succeed, but we have to make sure that our actions reflect what it is that we are saying, okay? We have to make sure that we are providing that safe and secure environment in the school, but then parents, we have to also make sure that we are establishing that same type of environment outside the school, okay? Students cannot learn if they do not feel safe. That's at school, that's outside of school, and it can't just be one or the other. A kid cannot be safe at home and not feel safe at school, and vice versa. We need to make sure that we're creating these safe spaces for our students, regardless of if they are in our building or not. That way they can truly flourish and be successful as we want them to be, okay? The next thing we need to do, we need to make sure that we're all a village, right? Everybody in this room, everybody who's listening to this, had somebody or multiple people pour something into them to help them be where they are at today, right? We have to be very intentional that we are pouring into our students the same way. Even if it's not your student, even if it's a student who gets on everyone's nerves. If I had my report card to show y'all, y'all would see this don't look like the student. He ain't gonna make it. He ain't gonna make it. Okay, it took a teacher taking a risk for herself. It took community members. It took my mom. It took everyone taking a chance, a risk, and not giving up on me. Okay, because technically I shouldn't even be here today. Okay, we have to pour into all of our students the same way. Be that village for our students. Okay, if we become that village for our students, regardless if it's the student with all A's or the student who's failing most of their classes, we have to pour into all of them. It's not going to look the same. It's not supposed to. But we have to pour into all of those students. And that way, we can truly say that the students that we are preparing today are future ready. That way, we can say that they are purpose-driven, future ready, and we can mean it and we can stand behind it. So as a leader, as the leaders in this room, I stand before y'all to say that we are going to drive these kids to be purpose-driven, future ready. So I want everybody to say, I am. Purpose-driven. I am. Future ready. With that mindset, y'all, we're going to get all these kids and we're going to push them across that finish line regardless of what. Thank y'all.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moses. And I do apologize that we did not get the opportunity to see your video, your PowerPoint, but you did a wonderful job. anyway, so we really didn't need it. And you don't have to stay if you don't want to. Don't feel obligated to stay. So thank you so much.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Dr. Moore?
can I just make a comment? Because I've seen Mr. Mosley in action, in action. When I go to Muller Road, I have a student there that I mentor. He knows who my student is. She's the mayor of Muller Road. And whenever I come in, he gives me an update on her, and then he goes and gets her so that I can have a conversation with her to ensure that she is purpose-driven so she can be future-ready. So thank you for what you do every day for our students. He's smiling because he knows who I'm talking about.
We will now move to item 4.5.1, the consent agenda. May I please have a motion regarding the approval of the consent agenda?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. Trapp?
I move to approve the consent agenda for the May 27th, 2025 regular board meeting.
The motion has been made by Mr. Trapp. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been made by Mr. Trapp and seconded by Mr. Dennis. Is there any discussion?
No, I just need to remove the one item. Okay. Okay. Okay, I move to approve the consent agenda for the May 27th, 2025 regular board meeting with the exception of item 5.3, continuous improvement plan update, which the district administration has requested be deferred to the June 10th, 2025 meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Trapp. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, the correct motion has been made by Mr. Trapp and seconded by Mr. Dennis. Is there any discussion? And then, Mr. Trapp, if you can check to make sure it's correct, please.
That is correct.
Board members, please vote. The vote is 7 yes, 0 no. The motion passes. We will now move to item 6.1, but we have no one signed up for public participation, so we will move on to 7.0, voting on executive session item. 7.1, may I please have a motion regarding student appeals?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Ms. Williams?
I move to deny the appeal for student number 1.
The motion has been made by Ms. Williams. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been made by Ms. Williams and seconded by Mr. Dennis. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Seeing none, please check the motion, and then board members, please vote. Yes. Ms. Nash, we're waiting for your vote.
Sorry about that. Did it go through that time?
Okay, the motion is 7 yes, 0 no. The motion passes. We will now move to item 7.2, student admission request into the adult education program. May I please have a motion?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Ms. Washington?
I move to approve the student admission request into the district's adult education program for student number 1 through 4.
The motion has been made by Mrs. Washington. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been made by Mrs. Washington and seconded by Mr. Dennis. Is there any discussion? Board members, will Ms. Washington please check the motion? That's correct, okay. Board members, please vote. The motion is 7 yes, 0 no. We will now move to item 7.3, employment recommendations and certified releases. May I please have a motion?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. Dennis?
I move to approve the employment recommendations and certified releases as presented.
The motion has been made by Mr. Dennis. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been made by Mr. Dennis and seconded by Mr. Trapp. Is there any discussion? It's fine. I wasn't saying anything, that's why you couldn't hear. I would like to pull on page 6, number 1, and vote on that separately. So, Mr. Dennis, I would love for you to revise your motion to remove number 1 from page 6, to vote separately. He can retract his motion and then make a motion, or we can amend. And it's probably easier if he if he,
Madam Chair,
yes, Mr. Dennis,
I would like to.
or amend your motion.
Yeah, I'm going to amend my motion.
Okay, thank you.
I move to approve the employment recommendations and certified releases as presented, with the exclusion of item 1 on page 6.
The motion has been made. Is there a second? I will second that motion. The motion has been made by Mr. Dennis, seconded by Dr. Elkins. Is there any discussion? I would make a discussion on that. You will see that I will not be supporting the item that I asked to be removed. As a veteran and career educator, I truly believe that when we hire people in our district and they have actually done the work and continue to do the work, that we should give them the opportunity to be promoted. I often think, I worked in rural school districts for quite some time, and I did not understand the rural culture of rural school districts. And they always had this mindset of they wanted to hire within. They wanted to hire within, and they really did not feel, some, because I don't want to label all rural school districts, some of them really didn't feel comfortable bringing people from the outside to come in, for whatever reason it was. And now being a 30-plus year educator, and even working in Richland too, I've watched so many people climb the ladder and come here and just give it their all, to sometimes be passed over or not looked upon. And what you'll see with me is, I've never been one to go alone to get along. Because when I gave my oath for Richland School District 2, and when I walk up and down asking for your vote, I always told you that when I come and represent you here, it's not going to be because I'm going with what everybody else does or the majority. It's going to be because I have to do what's in my heart, and I believe everyone would do what's in their heart. But I must say that I know what it feels like to be looked over. I know what it feels like to come to work every day, to give your all, and then hoping that one day you'll be able to get to that next level. So I used to say, and people remember back in the day, I used to say, it may not be you today, but it will be you tomorrow. You guys has been around, you've heard me say that. It may not be you today, but it'll be you tomorrow. And I think sometimes we forget that. I think sometimes when we haven't lived it, we don't understand it. And I've lived a lot, and I've understood a lot. And I say that because I grew up in poverty. So I know what it felt like not to have something. I grew up with a single mom and with a grandmother. And I also grew up saying, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I think sometimes we become big eyes and little U's. And I think sometimes we get in a bubble and we just do things, not always because it's the right thing to do, but it's what's most popular. So I say that, and you'll see that my vote is going to reflect the quote that sometimes you stand alone, and it's okay when you stand alone, when you know you can sleep at night and you know you've done the right thing. Thank you. I'll call for the vote. Did you check that?
Yes, Madam Chair, this is correct.
Okay, so we will vote on this motion and we'll come back and vote on the amended. Board members, please vote. Oops, I hope I didn't hit no, because I didn't have my glasses on. Oh, okay. Thank you.
I can't see where.
Ms. Nash, if you could take a vote.
Okay. Oh, yep. Sorry. I think I did and I accidentally undid it. Sorry. Okay.
The vote is 6 yes, 1 no. The motion passes. Now the next motion.
Madam Chair,
Right. Waiting for Mr. Dennis. Yes, Mr. Dennis.
I move to approve the employment recommendation for the employee number one on page 6.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Dennis. The motion has been made by Mr. Dennis. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been made by Mr. Dennis and seconded by Mrs. Washington. Is there any discussion? Mr. Dennis, please check the motion. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, board members, please vote. The motion is 6 yes, 1 no. The motion passes. We will now move to item 7.4. Really? 8.0. Unfinished business. Action requested. Dr. Moore?
Thank you, Madam Chair. As I'm going to ask our Senior Chief Financial Officer, Ms. Nancy Williams, to come to the podium. Tonight, we're going to present an update on the general fund budget to include the Senate version of the budget that has been passed. As the board is aware, the Senate voted for a budget. The budget has now gone to conference between the House Ways and Means and the Senate. We do not have final numbers as of today from the South Carolina Department of Education as to what the final budget is. But the purpose of our update today is to, one, give the board additional information around the Senate budget and how it would impact our district, and then as well as for the board to vote on the order or the recommendations that are here that we're presenting tonight. And that's what we're going to do, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board, and Dr. Moore. That's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to talk about projections based upon the Senate version of the budget, because that's all we received from the State Department of Education. And then, as Dr. Moore said, we're going to give you the opportunity, if you so desire, to shift priorities to the budget that has been previously presented to you. Okay, so as we kick things off, I will draw your attention to the last two columns related to revenue. That's related to the Senate, because the two columns in the middle of the House is what we've been previously working with. And so you'll see in the last two columns, you'll see the updated revenue projections from the State Department of Education, and then what that overall increase in revenue is due to the Senate version of the budget. I will say, I draw your attention to the third row, well, technically the fourth row, health insurance, active and retiree. You'll see a change there between the House version of the budget and the Senate version. Is roughly about a $600,000 swing between the $1.7 million increase and the $2.3 million increase. And then the remainder of the increase, go back up to the state aided classroom line. You'll see in the House version of the budget, we were projected to see a $4.5 million change. The Senate version is saying a $6.2 million change. I will say that those two versions of the budget aren't an apples to apples comparison, because the House version used our 45-day student counts. The Senate version used 135-day student counts. So that so the change in student, the weighted pupil units kind of factored into that increased revenue that you'll see there. But if you come down to the bottom row of the last column, you'll see, based upon the Senate version of the budget, we're anticipating $10.1 million in additional revenue over the fiscal year 25 amount. Okay. This is a little smaller than I anticipated, but I draw your attention on this one to the last two columns again. We tried to do the side-by-side comparison of what we'd previously gone on based upon the House version of the budget, and then the last two columns represent the Senate version of the budget. And so that first red highlighted circle there, that's that $10.1 million that the Senate is projecting in revenue. And then the color scheme is the same throughout that we've previously discussed. So the green represents what can be funded with a no-mill increase. I draw your attention to row 3. In the House version of the budget, we were anticipating a 4.6% health insurance increase for retirees, and that was going to cost the district $196,453. In the Senate version of the budget, that 4.6% increase is to be applied to all employees. So the cost would be $1.4 million. That's that second highlighted figure there. And so as we progress down the priority list, if you're looking at the Senate version, because there's more revenue in the budget to fund priorities, you'll see that you can go down to priority number 7, special education compliance, and we could fund everything except for $70,367 in positions. So that equates to about 15.8 positions that we could fund with a no mill increase based upon the Senate's version of the budget. And then the color scheme just, again, is the same as it's been presented to you in past presentations. The yellow represents what can be funded with the 3 mill increase, and you'll see the changes in the House and the Senate. And then the purple is what can be funded with the 12 mill increase, as you all agreed to during first reading. And you'll see, based upon the Senate's version of the budget, that we could fund down to priority number 11, leaving $148,896 that could be used for something else on the list. Okay? Priority number 12, when we discussed that earlier on in first reading, I'd indicated that in order to fund a 1% salary increase for all other employees outside of teachers, that we could fund that partially via cost reductions. So we've been asked about the cost reductions. So in the next slide, these are the areas that we considered when we came up with that amount, okay? So I have that information for you here. And then again, the orange, which shows up terribly now that I'm standing here, are the other items that we presented before that, you know, even with the mill increase or any anticipated revenue, we don't think we'll be able to afford to fund these items unless you decide that you'd like to shift priorities and fund some of these items. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Board members, as we prepare to open up for conversation, I just want to remind everybody that we did attend the County Council's first reading of the budget. We also, Ms. Williams and I also presented at County Council our budget so that they are aware that the board did approve a request for a 12 mill increase. We did not present at public comment because that was not our time to present, but we were present for that, and we will be attending the next second reading of the County Council's budget, which will be coming up very shortly, the 5th. So with that, we'll open it up for questions.
Board members, are there any questions? Any questions? Well, I do have a question. This budget that you just presented to us, that does not include the monies that you are requesting from County Council, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Which means if County Council actually passes the millage rate that we're asking, that's going to present more money than what you're actually presented?
No, ma'am. What I, hold up, wait a minute. Let me say that differently. So the numbers as it relates to new revenue does not include a millage increase. But when I went down the columns in the colors, it represents, if that, okay. Okay, all right.
That's correct, Dr. Scott. When you look at the colors, the green is with no millage increase. And then as you go down to the yellow is where if we receive the millage increase from the county, then we would be able to do those things. Without a millage increase at all, we would only be able to do items number 1 through 6 on the budget.
Board members, any discussion? Ms. Washington?
I do have a question. So, in attending the discussion this past week with County Council, they too are also asking for increases across the board. So what is the plan in the event that they do not approve the millage increase? Do you all have a backup plan for some of these expenses?
We would fund, the backup plan, honestly, at this point, would be to fund everything in green that we could afford, and then whatever from those costs, that the $648,000 in cost reductions.
Okay, thank you.
Board members, any other questions?
Yep.
I do.
Madam Chair?
Oh, go ahead, Ms. Nash. Forgot about you.
Mine was more of a comment. In our last discussion, which is, why I voted against this, is because they are anticipating increases across the board, and definitely think that that is something to have a backup plan for. But there's also in that where we would be still receiving some of those monies as well. And while we don't know what that is something that, so we're not like going to be completely out of the water, but definitely I agree with Ms. Washington that there should be a backup plan in place, because they are looking at increasing across the board, and that's been a conversation now for quite some time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nash. Board members, any other questions? I do have a question. Last year, I know we talked about doing a millage, and board members asked that you guys go back and figure out how we could fund everything that we wanted without doing a millage, and it worked. I say that to say, once again, I don't want us to have a fear factor here, saying that if we don't get a certain amount, we can't get these positions funded and filled, because that's not the case. We've done it before. We're brilliant. We know how to get the money, and we can do it again. So I just don't want anyone in a fear factor thinking that they're not going to have their job, and we're not giving these bonuses or increases or whatever we need to do, because that's not the case. We know how to make it work. But are there any other questions from board members?
Madam Chair, can I just address that? Because last year, the way we were able to fund things is we borrowed from fund balance. And so because we borrowed from fund balance, we were able to do the things that the board had requested that we do. We cannot borrow from fund balance this year. Fund balance is for non-reoccurring costs. And so therefore, we could not use it for salaries. We cannot use it for anything that is a reoccurring cost. And so Plan B, if we do not receive, we expect that we might receive some additional money once the House and the Senate come to agreement. But please keep in mind, as we've stated earlier, there are costs that are on here that we do not have firm figures for. We are looking at options with insurance, but we do not have a final quote from our insurance provider or one of the ones that we are currently looking at. And so while we were able to do things last year because we borrowed for fund balance, and please note that in this budget, the agreement last year was we were going to pay that money back over 5 years. That payment is not included in the dollars that we are reflecting here. It's in the yellow, and therefore we would still need to pay that money back, but we don't have that accounted for in this budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Moore. Any other questions, board members, before I?
Madam
chime
Chair?
in? Yes, Mr. Dennis?
When I was looking at all this, one of the, I got a whole list of things, but one of the things that I was more concerned with, I was worried about the $5 million that was used last year of the fund balance, and we haven't paid it back yet. I would like, hopefully we can find a way, but when we're looking at these budgets, I would like to find a way to, when we're given raises and things like that, find the way for our hourly employees with college degrees and our teachers, our veteran teachers, putting more impact towards them than the new hires, because when I look at our salary schedule, we've met what the governor was pushing for, that 50,000 for starting. But I really would like to value our veteran teachers and staff and try to help them out more than the new teachers. I think if we do that, we can attract new teachers knowing that the longer they stay, the more they can get paid versus losing them to other districts. But that's just something in the future. I mean, I know we can't probably do it this year, but looking forward, I think that's a good way of trying to keep people in the district.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dennis. Any other comments? I will have something for discussion, since we're at that point. Before we make the motion, for discussion, I would love to see us add a school resource officer to this budget at Pinnacle Point. I once recall having a conference, and I think we all were there, with Dr. Stephen Peters, and even just having a conversation with him, and he said, you know, if you want to know the true value of someone, and if you really want to know where their heart is, look at where they spend their money. And as a school board member, we always talk about how important safety is. You know, we big, especially campaigning time, oh gosh, that's a big one. If you want to see us at campaign, ask us, well, oh, you know, school safety is just so important to us. We want to make sure our kids are safe and our employees are safe. You know, school safety, school safety. Oh my God, and even I'm out there, school safety, you know, all the other campaigns, school safety. So when we talk about that, I hope we put our money where our mouth is, and especially where our mouth is when we're trying to get your votes. When we're talking about safety, Pinnacle Point, I'm not sure if you guys watching, that is a location where we actually host all of our school board hearings. Now, when students go to hearings, those are good students who've just made a poor choice. And then sometimes it's students who really have some behavioral concerns that we provide the family intervention for. With that being said, they're not housed here with all of these people here. They're housed in a completely different location. At that location, we do have a security officer who does not carry a weapon, just a security officer who's there. We get different types of parents that actually come into that location. And the chief senior person, what is that title, Dr. Moore, so I can make sure I get the title correct? The top person.
Executive director?
The executive director is actually housed in this building. That person is not housed over there with their employees and housed over there with some parents that can be rowdy. And we know there are a lot of rowdy parents that come through, and there are a lot of great, nice, calm parents that come through. So I am requesting that whoever makes this motion, even if I have to make it myself, because I'm going to put my money where my vote is, care enough about our students to make sure that we have a SRO over there, so when parents do get out of control, they are not just only going to see a security officer, they're going to see an SRO who has the authority to arrest you and remove you from that location when our students or our employees don't feel safe in the environment. Now, many may say that's not a school building. It doesn't matter if it's a school building. It's a location that we house our teachers, our family interventionists, our director of pupil services, and where parents come with their students who we are recommending for expulsion. So with that being said, I would love to see that this motion add a school resource officer over at a location that we call not a school, but we call a building that we have our employees that we say we want to be safe, and we have our students that we say we want to be safe in that location. So with that said, I will go ahead and call, you have a, oh, I'm sorry. You,
Madam Chair?
Wait, Dr. Moore. We have two people who would like to speak. I'll come back.
I just wanted to clarify something you said. Or
Okay,
add something to
I'll
that.
give you an opportunity. Ms. Nash, and then I'll come back. Ms. Nash?
Oh, I was just going to agree with the Pinnacle point. So I don't know if there's somebody there that's making that motion. If not, then I will make. I guess in how we're making it, and if we need to make it with this, just some clarification on that.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Williams?
Yes, this is for Mrs. Williams. What's the estimated cost for an additional SRO, if we can include benefits and all?
Almost 89,000. Just, that's, oh, I'm sorry.
That is just
That's
salary.
That's just salary and fringe, that's not the equipment-related cost. That's about another 80,000.
So roughly about 160,000 addition that we would need.
Yes, the roughly 89,000 recurring, and then the 80,000 non-recurring. for
How
the
much of
equipment.
that does Richland County pay? Zero of that
Yes,
part?
ma'am, correct.
Okay. And I think, wait, Ms.
This is a
Williams.
follow-up to her question.
Oh, follow-up? Okay, go ahead.
So that 160,000 that we would use to provide an SRO to the Pinnacle Point, will it allow, I guess my question is, when we did the reduction of other areas that you, with Avid and things like that, could that 180 come from those funds if we decide?
You could decide so. I mean, we could move the asterisks and put that 600,000 into play, if that's what you want to do.
Okay.
And I'm going to go to Dr. Moore so she can help me out with the title, because I think I said it wrong. I think I gave Dr. Suber's title. My bad, Dr. Suber. Did I do that? Oh, I did not? Oh, okay. Well, help me out, Dr.
So-
Moore, because you told me
so,
I had his
yes.
title.
As a part of our restructure, the new person is an executive director. Dr. Suber is also an executive director. Dr. Suber's office is in Pinnacle Point.
Okay.
So it's not that there's no one over there to supervise in the building. There is an executive director in the building, and if there's an issue, we can always call the sheriff's office, and they will send one of the patrol line people over to address whatever those concerns are.
And the person could be laid out by the time the sheriff department get there. And let me clarify, Dr. Moore. Thank you for that, for allowing me to know that Dr. Suber is there. But let's go back to the order of positions. Mr. Smith, what is his title?
Mr. Smith's title is chief.
Okay,
And as Mr. Smith
so-
retires, and the new person that we have hired, their title is executive director.
Okay, so with that, the chief was not there. Now with the new person that we're hiring, hopefully that new person will be over there with their people, because I just don't, okay, let me just have a moment. Y'all know I've been real good for years, and I'm gonna continue to be good. But I'm just trying to find the common sense in this, so maybe somebody can help me, because sometimes common sense is just not common. So maybe I'm just not using common sense right now. Help me out. Okay, the new person is going to be an executive director over that area, but they're going to be housed in this building. So if something breaks out over in yonder, in the other building, then we would have to call that person, call the sheriff department, and hope one of them get there before somebody's laid out dead, right?
Actually, no, Dr. Scott.
Okay, help me out.
Because the executive director, currently the chief, does hearings with everybody else. So he is in that building when hearings are taking place. So they will have someone there present at the time. As far as providing security, as you already stated, we do have someone there that provides security for the building. And if we need to, we can call for law enforcement to show up.
Thank you, Dr. Moore.
Like we do here at this building,
Yeah,
Dr.
this
Scott,
building
because
is
we do not
completely
have
different. It
an
has more
SRO
people.
here, but we have angry parents and community members that come here too, upset with something that the district has done. And we have our safety personnel who are here to assist in helping resolve those issues. And when they cannot, we call for call the sheriff's office, and they send someone over to address the issues.
Well, I appreciate that, Dr. Moore. And once again, this building is completely different than the other building. So what I'm going to do to the public, I'm going to plead to the public. Haven't done that in a while. I'm going to plead to the public, and I'll meet you there. I want you to come and do a walk through this building with me, see how many people here, see that the library is here, see all the things that go on here, and then meet me at Pinnacle Point, and then help me out. Help me to understand if I'm using common sense about the safety of our employees, safety of our students, or am I just, I've lost my common sense? Because I really think I have, I have book smarts and street smarts and common sense. So I'm just wondering if it's just me, but we want to get out of here before it's too late, right? Right, Ms. Washington? I see you looking at me. So with that said, I'm just going to just end my conversation. And again, constituents, you know how to reach me. And if you want to go on a tour with me of this building and a tour with me of Pinnacle Point, call me up or send me an email. Let's make it happen. Thank you. With that said, yes, Ms. Washington. Now, we're trying to get out here.
I know.
I'm joking with you.
I know.
Go
I
ahead.
do have a question. I wanted to know, because I, of course, agree with safety is our number one priority, not just for our students, but our staff. So I do want to know, does anybody have any data for Pinnacle Point to be able to show the need for a full-time SRO over there, as opposed to, because that means that a full-time SRO would go to Pinnacle Point over a full-time SRO going to Blythewood Academy. And if I had to select between the two, I would select Blythewood Academy, because Blythewood Academy is all the way at the bottom. It's number 15. It was not approved in our previous vote. So my concern would be is that we would put a full-time SRO at Pinnacle Point. Again, I believe in safety for all of our employees and for our students, but I wanted to know, what is the data to show? Do we have that each time we have a hearing that we've got to escort a parent out via police? Do we have the data to show how many calls we've had to make for that particular building to the sheriff's department because of the disruptions or anything of that nature? Because that's what we're talking about, I guess, with the parents and the employees. I want our employees to be safe, but I have not heard one employee come before the board saying, I don't feel safe in this building whenever we have hearings, or I don't feel safe in this building at any point. I just don't want to vote to put that over number 17 when we've heard from students that are at Blythewood Academy saying, I don't feel safe here. I want to go back to my home school. So I just don't want to put the perception out that I don't support it. I just want to know what is the data to show that it is necessary for us to put that over number 15 for Blythewood Academy.
Thank you,
Madam
Ms.
Chair,
Washington. Wait.
Madam Chair?
Yes, one second, Ms.
had-
Nash. One
Okay,
second.
sure.
Ms. Washington, thank you for that, because my support is for an officer at Blythewood Academy and Pinnacle Point. So I want to be clear. I'm not trying to get one at Pinnacle Point and not have one at Blythewood. It was my assumption, looking at the chart here that Ms. Williams gave us, that we were already included that in the budget. So what I would suggest, there is an officer. So that's why I'm not sure what you're talking about, because we already have an officer. And if you want to add a second one, yes, then that's something that you should add to this. So that's probably something you want to add to this, because I know we already have one. I see you. I'm going to go to Ms. Nash first.
Oh, I was going to say, and that I agree with that also. Yes, if there isn't somebody there at Blythewood, that we do want that. But as far as Pinnacle Point, I have heard over the last 3 years from people who were employed there that they didn't feel safe. Many of them are no longer there. So that's everybody on the board may not have heard from them for whatever reason, but I have, which is why, I am, vying for that. I think sometimes people just don't, want to come forward all the time. But since I've been on the board in the last 3 years, there have been several conversations about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nash. Ms. Washington?
No, I was going to say, thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Ms. Washington. I meant Ms. Porter.
Yes, in regards to Pinnacle Point, I would expect that there would be a needs analysis made for any purchase like that of something that's going to be reoccurring. I'm assuming that before bringing this before us, the needs analysis was completed. And I know that we went many years where there was not an SRO in our centers with a school of 200 plus students and staff and so forth, where we expected the SRO from an adjacent school to serve that school as well. Pinnacle Point is not out like Blythewood Academy, far away from other schools. There are schools nearby that have an SRO, and I don't want to completely disregard our security staff. So we have security staff there. So my questions would be, how many staff are in the building? How many students are in the building? How often they're in the building? All of those questions, because we're talking about paying for a position, equipment, et cetera, over some of these other things that we have, like a second SRO at Blythewood Academy that's been proven to be a need. And not only that, number 14, the virtual alternative education program for the safety of our students at Blythewood Academy and our students who get sent home due to expulsions, giving them an alternative for education opportunity, has been a huge ask of this board for the past few years since I've been on it. So I just don't want to move something from a request or two or a handful of requests above all of these needs that will affect graduation rates for students, safety of students and staff. Not to say that one is more important than the other, but when you look at the amount it affects, we went years on years where we did not have SROs in the building of 5 different centers. And it was an SRO in an adjacent building that served them for years. I see that this is something that has come up, and I think that just like we had to wait with the centers, it's something that we put on a list as something to consider, but I don't see it as something that you prioritize over some of the other items on this list that also affect safety and mental health and of our students and student behavior support for our students.
Ms. Porter, you said that there is a school that's close to Pinnacle Point. What school is that? Because Pinnacle Point is off of Fair Road in 29203. So what's the closest school that we have there?
Yes, I did the tour with you, Dr. Elkins.
I understand that, but I'm saying what's the closest school?
So we have a school, we have Joseph Kills off of Park Lane. We
Right.
also have the Lonnie B. Nelson School that's near there. You also have that cut through with Rabin Road.
Right.
And you also have Richland County. And you also have a security officer, probably multiple, in the building. So that's what I'm speaking of. And it's not,
Okay.
again, not to
Okay.
say that one thing is more important than the other, just that an appropriate needs analysis be made, just like it was made when we did not have an SRO in the building with 250 plus students in 5 different centers for many, many years, with students writing essays at their schools pleading for an SRO in the building. So again, to make a request in a board meeting within 1 year and then get an SRO, and we went multiple years, possibly 5 years without an SRO in these centers where they shared an SRO. Again, I don't think it's that we're not safe and that we don't have protection there. I think that just like you would call for an officer to respond to this building where we open the doors to all of the public and it's not just Richland 2 employees, we made a decision and there's not an SRO in this building with multiple staff members in an open to the public building. But if there was a need for one, you would make the phone call and we would expect for them to get there as soon as possible. Same reason why we don't have medical personnel in every single building. You don't have enough nurses in every single building. Right now, we don't have a nurse in every single center. The nurse has to come from another school to go to the center to give medication. So I don't want us to make this seem as though the staff members in this one building have no protection whatsoever. There are buildings without medical personnel.
If we can stay on focus with safety, and then if not, we're going to go ahead and call for the motion, but it's going to stand true that constituents pay attention and see if people put their money where their vote was. Thank you.
Dr. Scott? Yes, ma'am.
Apologies, Mr. Dennis.
I do have one question about Pinnacle Point. Ours, in here, where was it? And I lost. Okay, so I'm just gonna go off the top of my head. So I know we was looking for, I think it was like $89,000 and $86,000 for a camera revert. Is Pinnacle Point, is that also monitored through our cameras and all that stuff? Copy, thank you. That's all I had.
Thank you, and I'll make the motion. I would like to make a motion regarding the 2025-26 general fund budget that we add an SRO to Pinnacle Point and a second SRO to Blythewood Academy. Is there a second?
Second.
Can I have clarification on the motion?
Clarification on the motion?
Are you asking it to be added at the end of the list that's presented, or where on the
No,
list?
I think I've made my motion. My motion is to add, and I'm not making an order of that. That will be something for Dr. Moore and her team. I'll go back to my motion. My motion is to add, regarding the 25-26 general fund budget, an SRO to Pinnacle Point and to a second SRO to Blythewood Academy. That is my motion. And we had a second, so the motion was made by Dr. Elkins, seconded by Mrs. Nash. Is there any discussion? Now, Ms. Porter, if you have a discussion.
Madam Chair, oh, go ahead, Ms. Ford.
The second SRO at Blythewood Academy is number 15 on the list presented. So, again, in order for us to vote, we need to understand what we're voting for. Is it to be added to the overall list? Because the overall list includes the 17 mil increase. I believe what was voted on was a 12 mil increase. So if we're adding to the list, great. We can add, continue all the way. We have, what, 50 items on the list that was presented. So we would need to know where it was going to fall on the list to know what funds would be used in the future, or is it would need to be in this color-coded list?
Ms. Porter, that's something that Dr. Moore and her team will bring back to us. My motion stands as I stated. So you vote your conscience. My motion stands, and that will be for them to figure out what number and what place they put the item, but I'm not saying whether the item is number 2 or whether it's number 18, move number 6 up to number 5. That's not my place. I've made my motion, and there's a motion on the table. So the motion is to add a school resource officer to Pinnacle Point, second one to Blythewood Academy. Dr. Moore, if I can have you guys focus, please, for the 2025-2026 general fund budget. And the motion has already been seconded.
I have a question.
But it's not. Let me just amend my motion because it seems to be too confusing. I'm going to amend my motion, and I'm just going to stick with, my motion is to add to the 2025-2026 general fund budget an SRO at Pinnacle Point. May I have a second, please?
Second.
The motion has been made by Dr. Elkins and seconded by Mr. Dennis. Is there any discussion on this motion?
Madam Chair?
Yes, Dr. Moore.
Just for clarity purposes, your motion, are you expecting an SRO to be at Pinnacle Point for the 25-26 school year?
Yes, ma'am.
Then that would mean moving that person up to wherever the cut is for funding. So whatever we end up, where we end up at the end with funding, whether it's the Senate or the consolidated with millage or without millage.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Moore,
Thank
for
you
that
for that
clarity.
clarification.
No, thank you. And I guess
Madam
we
Chair?
need to add the
Oh, sorry.
25-26 school year. to that, because I just
Ma'am-
did regarding the 25-26 general fund budget, so I thought that would mean 25-26 school year, because that would be the same thing. Because the 25-26 general budget is for the 25-26 school year, so.
Madam Chair, I just had one question.
Yes, Ms. Nash?
At the last meeting that we had around this, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it said that, this is what we have right now, and then once we have everything, then we would still be able to flush out order like we did previously? Is that not the case now? Is that what you all are saying? I just want to make sure that I'm understanding.
No, you're absolutely correct, and that's what we've done before as well. Yes, thank you for sharing that.
Okay. I just want to make sure. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, and we're going to call for the vote. And then once you get it on the board, we'll be able to take a look at that. Thank you. No, actually, that was seconded by Mr. Dennis. That is correct. So I'll call for the vote. Board members, please vote. If this motion fails, then you guys can make a different motion. The vote is 3 yes, 4 no. The motion fails. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Ms. Porter?
I move to accept the budget priorities in the order as presented by the superintendent.
The motion has been made by Mrs. Porter. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been made by Mrs. Porter and seconded by Mr. Trapp. Is there any discussion? Of course, I would just have a quick discussion. I would just ask constituents, employees, students, and everyone, again, just remember when you hear us talk about safety, just how important safety is when it comes to votes. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I have a comment.
Yes, Mr. Trapp?
I have a comment. I think it's a little unfair to sit here and basically try to bully us into voting for this and imply that those that vote against it don't care about the safety of the students. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trapp. No need to bully. I think we're all entitled to our opinion, and that's my opinion, and opinions are not bullying. Opinions is what you feel, so thank you.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Williams?
just a point of clarity. My reasoning for the way in which I voted is that it's not that I don't care about the safety of employees, students, and everyone else. It is the fact that we have a tight budget at this moment, and it's something that we will look at depending on the order in which it is there. And there are other things that are on our budget that need to take priority according to what the state has mandated, and what we need to be able to cover as well. And then when we have additional fundings, whether it is released to us or not, then we can take in consideration of having SRO at Pinnacle Point, because I do see the need for that, but there are other things that we have to take care of that are priority according to what the state says we must need. And if we provide that $160,000, it will put us in a deficit in another area.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Well said. Thank you so much.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Ms. Nash?
Again, I just want to make sure because my understanding is that we are able to, once we do have all the funds released, that we're able to move these things around. Is that still not the case? Because I know that everybody said yes, and that's what we talked about before. I'm trying to make sure that that's still the case, like that we're still able to discuss moving these things around, and we're not saying like this is the end all be all in the way that this is before I vote.
Let me have Dr. Moore to
Because
address
last time I thought it was beneficial because we did sit down and we did move things into orders that we felt were, like everybody had input on that as far as the board, and we were able to sit down. But we didn't do that this time, and that's fine. However, I just want to make sure that because last week or the last time we talked about the budget, from my understanding, I could be wrong, but Nancy, correct me if I'm wrong. But I thought that we said that we would look at all of this and we still would be able to move some of these things around if we needed to.
Ms. Williams, can you
Other than, I'm not
address
talking
that?
about stuff
Yeah.
that we're mandated to do. I'm
Yeah.
not talking about what we're mandated to do.
Yes, ma'am, and that's what that's what we're attempting to do tonight, get you guys to figure, to decide which order you'd like these priorities to end up in. So this is similar, very similar to what would have been done last year in that special call meeting, if you will.
And I think part of the problem is last year we actually had a workshop and we
Yes.
had an opportunity.
That's where I'm really,
Right. Last year, we had
I
a
wanna-
workshop, and we had the opportunity to take a look at this, and then we could add items and shift items. This year, we didn't do that. So now we're here at a point where, we're not going to spend another 2 or 3 hours trying to shift now. So, we should have had a workshop to do this instead of doing.
Madam Chair, we did have a workshop where we presented the budget. It was in the same workshop in which we also did the training. So the first hour of the workshop was the budget. Ms. Williams presented. But we did do the budget workshop, but we had other commitments that did not allow enough time to have any additional discussion. So we did have a workshop.
Right, but we didn't have the workshop like what we normally have where we can shift, because the workshop was more of a presentation, not allowed time for us to really
Right,
shift,
which is
but
what.
too late for that.
Yeah, which is what we did last year too. But if you
Right.
remember, last year's budget workshop was just the budget. This time we had multiple other things that were included. And so due to time factors, no, there wasn't a robust discussion around that. But we have to have a second reading of the budget because we have to give a 15-day notice by state statute for the public to comment on it. If we get additional information, we will bring that information back to the board as soon as we receive it. But as of right now, we have what we have, and that's what we presented.
Okay, we're going to move to item 9.1.
Madam Chair,
Oh,
we have a motion on the floor we need to
oh,
vote
I
on.
thought we voted. Oh, that's the other one. I do apologize. Yes. Ms. Porter, check to make sure this motion is correct.
That's correct.
Okay, board members, please vote. Yes. So when we vote on this, for clarity, because I see a lot of faces, this is it, right? There's no shifting around. When we vote, this is it. Wow, okay. Board members, please vote. Ms. Tanidra, are we waiting for any votes? Ms. Nash, we're waiting for your vote.
Oh, sorry about that. I kicked myself out, but I'm back in. I just voted. Did that go through?
Five yes, 2 no, the motion passes. We will now move to item 9.1, operations report. Dr. Moore?
Thank you, Madam Chair. At this time, I'd like to call Mr. Will Anderson, our Chief of Operations, to present to the board.
Good evening. I hope you are doing well. I'll be quick, give you an update on our 2018 bond referendum, give some explanation. A couple meetings ago, you guys approved transfer of $11.5 million to the fund from fund balance, and talk about that. Give you an update on where we are with our non-referendum funds and then our future needs. So just a quick for the public, we've completed a lot of projects, and this is up to date of all the projects we've completed. This has been a ongoing update, so no need to go into any more detail. Currently, we have 6 projects under construction. Dent should be starting any day. Lonnie B started last week, and you can see the end dates on those projects. The $11.5 million fund balance transfer wasn't able to help us offset our still needs. And so real quickly, inflation, as we've mentioned many times before, hit us very hard. That inflationary cost blew up a lot of our cost. Thanks to you guys, thanks to our finance office, we've been able to still accomplish a lot of projects. The first, what you'll see there up top is the budgets, expenditures, encumbrances, and remaining balances as of April 30th. You can see under the bond projects, which is the funds that I'm responsible for, we have $774,000 left, and you can see we do have a big encumbrances. Funds needed to complete our projects. Based on our remaining balance, based on our working with our contractors on closing POs, and then based on the budget transfer that was approved, we have $16,623,870.67. In order to complete the projects that have completed design work, Dent and Lonnie B. Nelson, it would be a total of $16 million. And so you can see that transfer is helping us do Dent Middle School and Lonnie B. Nelson. I do want to point out that we have paused roughly $24 million worth of projects, again, due to inflation. When you talk about a 50% inflation of $519 million, you can see that we've still been able to do a lot, but we're pausing those projects. The projects that we have paused include the middle school field houses, Kelly Mill, Longleaf, North Springs, Polo Road, Round Top, and Sandlapper. Now, I will say that we have completed, every school has gotten an improvement through our bond referendum. All those schools had major improvements at secure front entrances. They've all gotten a large investment in camera access and card access controls. As you can see, the improvements were paused while they're important to the school and important to our students. You can see that they're not major. For example, other than North Springs Elementary, which we're planning on doing some for 8% funding, the restroom renovations and the HVAC. Polo Road example, when this was started, we needed a 4-classroom addition. They're now currently under capacity, so that's not necessarily needed. We have not stopped it. We've just paused it until additional funding is secured. The non-referendum dollars, we have, you can see we have different funds that are non-referendum, 500 fund, 521, 522. 500 and 521 come from the some reserve surplus transfers, similar to what we just showed you over several years ago when we were able to transfer some funds to help with capital improvements. And you can see the totals there, and you can see the remaining balance. Very similar to what I showed earlier. The only thing I want to mention is the projects assigned. There's a lot of projects we haven't officially got a PO or encumbered yet as we're working through the RFP process on a lot of those projects. Some of those projects that are in the non-referendum include the Ridgeview Track and Turf, which just started May the 17th, a new fire pump at R&E, multiple HVAC improvements, getting video boards at all of our high schools now, gym bleachers this summer at R&E and Blythewood High School, painting at several projects, safety updates, lighting updates like at upstairs and then making sure the vehicles stay up to date. Our long-term needs and costs, I've shared this with you guys before. The point of being is that in this, you can see the years, first year, the numbers as it goes out, and what those costs look like. You can see if you kind of start thinking about stacking those bars on top of each other, how much you end up spending over the cost, over the years of a facility. And so it's a lot of dollars, and the importance, if you are able to spend a little bit more on the front end, and you spend periodically over the years, you're able to have that life of your facility longer and hopefully spend less money. So that's what we're try to accomplish year in and year out. Our long-term plan, this is a brief summary of the life cycle we're on right now. We try to stay on. We get out of this life cycle. We still have schools with 25 to 30-year-old HVAC systems. We really need to be on a better cycle with some of these things. Roofs, as Dr. Moore's mentioned before, insurance won't cover them over 15 years anymore. So we need to be replacing them. And you can see some of the years and the other things that we've mentioned there. So yearly, right now, based on current prices, we should be spending about $43 million just on our facilities. On our equipment, you can see the life cycle on our equipment. This does not include the IT equipment and IT piece that Tommy shared with you guys in April. Another information he shared, but you again see the lifespan of all the equipment and assets we have. We have a lot of assets, a lot of facilities. In order to keep them the best, we have to spend money and reinvest in those. So for FY26, what we need next year, and you can see some of those costs here. I'm sorry about the bottom slide, is $13.75 million is what it ends up. These are just some examples of things. We plan to bring back to you guys at a future meeting the exact line items of each of these, but these are just to let you understand where we're at currently in our needs for our facilities, where we're at next year for our needs of equipment across the district. This is our total needs, including IT's needs, just for next year alone. I do want to point out that, as I mentioned earlier, we need roughly $43 million a year. We're asking, because we understand, meeting with our financial advisor, meeting with Ms. Williams, that's not probably possible, and this may not be possible either, but we do want to at least let you guys know what we're coiled down to at this point right now with the estimate of our needs. So our next steps, we'd like to come back with you guys with a more detailed list and exactly what we'd ask to borrow. We plan on meeting again with our financial advisor and the auditor. Ms. Williams may have done that already, but I think she may be focusing on general fund right now, so that's probably going to be in a little bit. I was just, Emmanuel Myers, our Director of Planning and Operations, was working on the facility study, and I was reviewing that today. We'd like to have more educational sessions with you guys so you understand more about the needs as well as more about what our funding sources are. And then we need to figure out future funding needs. 8% is only going to get us a little ways, and based on our current standing, we're going to really, and our current needs and growth, et cetera, we do need to, we have a kind of a plan, but we need to make sure that we're all on the same page with that plan. With 10 seconds to spare, thank you very much. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Board members, as Mr. Anderson said, we've met with our financial advisors, and we will be providing board members small group opportunities to understand what those numbers look like for our 8%. Please keep in mind, though, if we were to borrow what we actually needed, it would be long-term for us, not fiscally sound. And so we have to prioritize, and that's why we'll bring that information back to you with the list as well as recommendations from our financial advisors.
We don't want to max out the credit card, is what he said.
Correct.
So
we do not.
This 8% is the credit. 8% is the credit card, so we don't want to max out the credit card.
Correct. And we'll open it up for questions, Madam Chair.
Board members, any questions? Ms. Porter?
I just want to say thank you to you and your department for the way that you keep up our facilities. I was sitting at a middle school recently, and I mentioned to you one-on-one that I was sitting in the bleachers that I sat in when I was 11 years old. And I was almost looking for where I carved my initials when I was in 6th grade, and you could still see the writing of the different students over the years, but it's still there because of the great work that you and your department does in maintaining our facilities, and I hear that compliment wherever I go, so thank you so much.
Well, thank you. It's a team effort. I'm just here speaking. There's men and women at our departments, our custodians, our schools. We do the very best we can. We're not perfect, but they do a great job. But thank you for saying that.
Dr. Scott,
Yes, Mr. Trapp?
I want to ask you a real specific question, just because if I can understand this, I might be able to grasp the rest of it.
Yes, sir.
On the longer-term plan facilities, on the HVAC systems, you have down a 12-year life cycle, and you have a cost per year. So I want to ask you specifically, 12 years, is that like a rooftop unit, you expect to get 12 years out of the unit? So
yeah,
that,
I've kind of consolidated
Right.
just in general, because some, as you know, some's going to last longer.
Right.
Chillers and boilers, I mean, they're those things. So yes, sir, it's kind of it's a summary just in general. I could get
right,
very
just, that's just an
specific. Yes,
average
sir.
of what, so the 16 million per year, does that include replacement of a percentage of the equipment as well as repairs and maintenance on the equipment?
It's a replacement cycle per a school. We like to
Okay.
replace them at an entire school. Right now, it's like Summit Parkway, we're replacing 88 units through the bond referendum, those rooftop units. It's costing us about $4 million right now, or $4.5 million just to do that, and that includes some of the duct work as well. So thinking about inflationary costs, thinking about those costs, that's, in Summit's 180,000 square foot building, and those units, again, they're all different systems. So that was based on our team, based on our mechanical engineers that we have, that was an estimate.
I guess my question is, the 16 million per year is pretty much replacement of
Yes, sir.
wore out. So our maintenance is in a different line? That's on the next page?
That's kind of that contingency as well as repairs and maintenance we do as general fund. You saw in the Ms. Williams slide, we are reducing some of that. So usually repairs and maintenance come through our general fund unless it gets to a replacement. If we can get some compressors for decent price, if we're getting something, Mr. Trapp, at $50,000, we're going to use capital as opposed to general fund.
So the 16 million is not the, that comes out of the, that's a capital improvement?
Yes, sir. We
Okay,
try to
okay.
just do large spending of capital.
Okay.
At times, we will make a decision based on what a general fund looks like to then say, all right, let's pull it. We always carry a contingency because, as you know, we never know what's going to happen with especially these units.
Mm-hmm.
So the 1 million is a very conservative contingency, but it tends to help us right now. But that's
Okay.
just an average of all those units.
Okay,
Yes,
no,
sir.
that's great. I appreciate that.
Yes,
That
sir.
helped a lot.
Other questions?
Madam Chair.
Mr. Dennis?
So when I'm looking at the cost and condition, it looks like our 25, we're up there in the increased risk of system failures on that line.
Yes,
I just
sir.
wanted to make sure. So when we are going to the future, I imagine with the inflationary costs, we're going to stay on that line.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, there's two trains of thought. Both are, I think, that I agree with. One, you invest more up front, you're going to probably get a better system down the road. But if you don't, just like your car, if you don't do an oil change and don't do the things you're going to, your likelihood of the failure happening. So this is just why we have to, together as a community, figure out how we're going to fund our facilities. So again, the needs are 40-something million. We're looking at maybe 20 million. So we have to make sure we strategically do the things that are good for the building. Now again, there's some things we can stop doing. We can say not paint as often. While painting is great, painting is good for the schools. Little kids rub their hands right this level all down the halls. But from a health, safety, and function of the building, that HVAC system, that roof, those things, there's plumbing, so some cosmetic things we may need to start scaling back. Now, again, some things we have to do. So to answer your question, yes, that's as the least. If we don't fund and do the annual maintenance, say we move those years to say the periodic renovation goes to year 10, that just means that failures, that yellow line is going to be faster. It's going to get up higher is what happens.
Okay, thank you. I just want to give a little background. So this right here, for everybody watching, this is something that I pay very close attention to, because in the military, this is what I did for an Air Force base. And let me tell you, billions of dollars that I had to look at the infrastructure and do this, and I do not envy you at all doing it here, because it's a little easier to get federal military funding dollars for things, but not for schools, it seems like in South Carolina. But I don't envy you at all, but if we're looking at 43 and you're projecting trying to get 30, but we're hoping for 20, I just want to let the public know that's not a great way of doing things, but it's what we have to do with the funds that we have. So it's going to be hard, but if anybody, you'll get it out.
Yeah, well, we're blessed in Richland too. We got great facilities and great community support, and we'll continue to do the best we can. And we've got great partners who make our schools great. So, but everybody needs to know the information. We start from what everybody building understanding, and then we'll go from there. But thank you, Mr. Dennis.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Anderson.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
now move to Communications and Strategic Partnership Update. Dr. Moore.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to have our Senior Chief of Communications, Ms. Darcy Rush, come to present to the board. She has a lovely video.
Good evening, Dr. Elkin Scott, members of the board, and Dr. Moore, and our Richland 2 families. Tonight, it is my privilege to present our Communications Impact Report, which provides a snapshot of the activity, growth, and strategic impact of the Office of Communications and Strategic Partnerships. From positive attendance messages to the district's student and employee handbooks to fulfilling FOIA requests, to podcast, our mission is clear: to ensure every story, every connection, and every initiative reflects the strength and spirit of Richland School District 2. This update will highlight our largest district planned events, progress in social media growth, website performance, and our ever-growing network of community, faith-based, and business partnerships. And since we all know that a picture is worth 1,000 words, here's a look. We proudly serve as storytellers for the district. Whether through visuals, written stories, or strategic messaging, we are responsible for the internal and external communications for nearly 30,000 students, 4,000 employees across more than 40 schools and centers. Our daily goal is to support effective and timely communication across every school and department, promote transparency and trust with our community, and to ensure that the Richland 2 brand remains strong, consistent, and a parent's first choice for their child's education. Let's start with our most recent event, the 2025 commencement exercises. We saw more than 2,000 students representing 5 high schools cross the stage of the Colonial Life Arena over a 2-day period. Did you know that your communications department is responsible for streaming graduations? This year, we streamed to 30 countries with more than 9,700 viewers. Maybe you noticed the digital QR code on the screens and monitors around the Colonial Life Arena. Last year, 2,134 people accessed it. This year, more than 6,000 people accessed the digital booklets through the scan. In addition to that, we were excited to bring a bit of personalized school pride to each photo our grads took backstage. Thanks to the support of Coach Kendall at Ridgeview High School, our idea became a reality with these cutouts. The kids loved it, and the pictures proved it. Our social media numbers were through the roof. To date, more than 19,000 views on the Blythewood graduation post on Instagram alone. Throw in ordering flowers, coordinating meals, reserved seating, arranging VIP seating and parking passes for elected officials, and you have a small snapshot of what communications does when it comes to graduations. We've been intentional and deliberate about making sure that our website and our social media pages are always updated. We know in 2025 that our website is typically a parent's first touch point. When they go there, we want them to be able to find what they're looking for. Each school in our district by August will have a webpage that is personalized to their school. More than half of our schools have pages that are as unique as they are. Since January of this year, our team has achieved meaningful growth across all major social media platforms. Facebook saw a 43% increase on content interaction or engagement over the past year. That means followers have increased by 62 percentage points. And when it comes to Facebook, users who are not following Richland 2, we're seeing an increase of more than a third. Our most viewed video to date on Instagram, with more than 24,000 views, is our video on how the district makes decisions on inclement weather days. Parents are not only watching the video, but they're also sharing it. Over the last year, our Instagram followers grew by 31% and shares increased by 40%. On Twitter, Richland 2 has more than 770,000 impressions. Nearly 200 users over the last year have bookmarked our content on Twitter. When it comes to profile visits, nearly 4,000 new users in 1 year. In addition to our work across social media, websites, and events, our communications team has also supported district departments through high-quality in-house designs. Since July of 2024, we've produced nearly 36 custom graphics for use in everything from academic campaigns and district-wide initiatives to individual school events and staff recognitions. This work ensures our visual storytelling remains consistent, polished, and aligned with the Richland 2 brand, while also saving the district time and resources. To amplify our messaging beyond the digital space, we strategically leverage outdoor advertising. Since last July, Richland 2 has purchased space on 447 billboards across Northeast Columbia and the Greater Midlands. These billboards have promoted initiatives like our magnet programs, school choice, free to focus, and teacher recruitment, ensuring high visibility and reinforcing our presence as a top-tier district in the state. The Free to Focus campaign has had a powerful and measurable impact across our schools. By using a multi-platform communication strategy, including videos, podcasts, social media, school signage, and leadership messaging, we ensured that the purpose and expectation of the campaign was clear, consistent, and fully aligned across all audiences. One of the most meaningful outcomes of our communication strategy this year was the SC Ready campaign, designed to ensure that students felt prepared and empowered even before they sat down to take the test. A key part of this success was our collaboration with middle school principals, who played a critical role in identifying student voices and shaping content that truly resonated. Their partnership allowed us to produce video messages that felt personal, uplifting, and authentic, reminding students that they were supported and capable. Last but certainly not least, let's talk about This Is Us, by far the most successful online social media image campaign Richland 2 has launched to date. This campaign gives each school its own spotlight, allowing them to showcase what makes their community unique. From academic excellence and student leadership to culture, creativity, and spirit. This Is Us provides a platform for every school to tell its story proudly and authentically. This Is Us isn't just a campaign, it's a movement that reminds everyone why Richland 2 is such a special place to learn, lead, and grow. Keep your eyes open for This Is Us Legacy, an opportunity for us to highlight the legacy of excellence in education in Richland 2 by featuring families with a history of attending and graduating from Richland 2 schools. When it comes to district-wide partnerships, we're proud to report that the Business and Education Alliance now includes 373 partners, a diverse group of corporations, small businesses, nonprofits, colleges, and universities who consistently support our district schools, students, and staff. Another critical partnership is with the Northeast Richland Ministerial Alliance, also known as NERMA. This group includes 83 faith-based organizations that serve our district in profound and practical ways. Their contributions include supplying food and essentials for our weekend backpack program and supporting international teachers with housing and furniture donations. One of our cornerstone programs, R2 Ready to Read, serves our youngest learners. This year, 5,731 pre-K through second grade students in schools with significant needs received books to build their home libraries, thanks to generous donations and year-round collection efforts. This month, we proudly launched Foundations for Learning, an initiative inspired by Dr. Moore's belief that learning begins at birth. Through a new partnership with Reach Out and Read SC and funding from the Richland 2 Education Foundation, this program supports families with children from birth to age 3, preparing them for lifelong learning. The Director of Strategic Partnerships actively represents Richland 2 and our broader community, serving as a liaison or board member for several key organizations, including the Richland 2 Education Foundation, the Columbia Chamber of Commerce, the Blythewood Rotary, and the United Way Education and Resilience Council. Here's a look at some of the major events we've hosted and supported this school year. $1,551,262. That's the number of direct messages sent between teachers and parents this year alone through Parent Square. Communications and strategic partnerships remains a cornerstone of our commitment to being a parent's first choice. Whether it's supporting our youngest learners, uplifting our teachers, or deepening community engagement, these relationships are vital to a student's success. Thank you for your continued support and for championing the importance of what it means to be Richland 2, and more importantly, what it means to be in the communications department for Richland 2.
Thank you, Ms. Darcy.
Thank you.
Strickland Rush.
Thank you.
So let me
Dr.
just
Moore.
say one other thing, board members. That weather video, the reason that we ended up doing that was it came out of our teacher forum. Our teacher forum said, we don't understand how decisions are made around the weather. They thought that I just watched the weather and then say, okay, we're going to close school. They didn't understand all of the steps that go into it, and it's a multiple day process that we have to go through to ensure that we are complying with the requirements of the South Carolina Department of Education. So that's why that video is so important and so popular, is because that's something teachers wanted to know, and it helped to educate our parents also. So with that, we'll open it up for questions.
Board members, are there any questions or comments? Ms. Williams?
I just want to say, it's more of a comment. I would like to thank you for all the hard work you and your department have they've done over the last year. I can never say that you have overly communicated too much, but it's really appreciated, because anytime that I look on my news feed on social media, I see Richland 2 pop up. I like to see the recap of me interacting with Richland 2. There's never a way that someone can say that they did not receive the information because of the multiple touch points. And I appreciate that you honed in on the rule of at least 3 times, and you all find 3 ways to communicate with parents and community members as a whole, because even people I know that do not have kids within the district, they know everything that's going on with the district through social media or other ways in which you all have your touch points. So thank you so much, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. Obviously, I don't do this alone. It's my entire team, and it's an amazing team. I come up with ideas. They look at me like I'm crazy sometimes, but then they still go forward with it. So thank you.
Mr. Dennis?
I want to say thank you for everything you do, because with me being a realtor, I understand the power of the social media and how you can pull your hair out of your head using it. So thank you very, very much for getting that done, because one thing, when I was elected, I said I wanted to get a lot more information out there. And when I would go to our web page, you've already got it out there. The information that wasn't there before is now there. So I'm like, okay, it's there now. So thank you very, very much.
Any other comments, board members? I just want to say thank you also. I've seen a huge difference in how we communicate. We've always communicated well, let me just say that. But I like the new touches that you brought with us, with you. So thank you so much. Do appreciate that. And we will now move to item 10.0, agenda items for our next meeting. Dr. Moore?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our next regularly scheduled board meeting is June 10th, 2025. We will begin with the call to order at 5:30 p.m., followed by approval of the agenda, release to executive session, we will discuss receipt of legal advice, a litigation update, student appeals, student admission request into the district's adult education program, employment recommendations and certified releases, resume public session at 6:30 p.m. We will then have our inspirational moment and Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the consent agenda, which will include approval of the consent agenda, approval of minutes from the previous meeting, continuous improvement plan update, and classified employment releases and in-district transfers. We will then go to item 6.1, which is public participation, followed by voting on executive session items, which would include student appeals, student admission request into the district's adult education program, employment recommendations and certified releases, and any as-needed items discussed in executive session. We'll then move to new business, no action. The board will receive an operations update focused on transportation. We'll then move to agenda items for the next meeting and review the draft agenda for June 24th, 2025's regularly scheduled board meeting. Move to our if needed items of public participation, executive session, excuse me, voting on executive session, and conclude with board and superintendent comments and adjournment.
Thank you, Dr. Moore. Board members, is there anything you guys would like to add to an upcoming or future meeting? Seeing none, we will now move on to 4.0, Board and Superintendent comments. Mrs. Nash have already signed off, so we would start with Ms. Washington.
I just want to say that Mr. Moses, really gave an inspirational message, so I want to thank him for that. What really stood out for me is when he was talking just about being the one student. And so all it really takes is just for us to be that one person. And I think sometimes we have to ask ourselves, will we be the one? And that's not just us as board members, but that's employees, staff, teachers. Will we be the one to light the fire for just that one student? I think a lot of times when people hear us say things about students, or we're, championing, like I love to echo Dr. Scott's sentiments when we talk about student appeals, that, we do this because we want to see our students stay in school. And so it's not us giving our kids a pass, but what it is it's us giving them purpose. And the message that he gave, if you had to really listen to what he was saying, being that one student. And it made me think about Rita Pearson, and she said it best: every child deserves a champion. And the message really ties back into what communication says. This is us. We are the champion for our students. So I want to say to all of our employees who are taking summer vacations and our teachers who have the summer off, rest well, rest up, and stay ready. Have a great summer, Richland 2, and thank you so much for all you do. God bless.
Thank you, Ms. Washington. Mr. Dennis.
So I want to say thank you to Mr. Moses for that inspirational moment, because that makes me want to say thank you, Mr. Teeter, and thank you, Mr. Honeycutt, back in Stanley County, North Carolina, for putting up with me, because I wouldn't be here without you. That's a good thing. Real quick, we did all the graduations, and I wanted to say to all the seniors out there, congratulations on everything. I know we shook your hand and all that, but I really want to say congratulations. Use what we've given you here and propel your life even better. Now's the time for summer, so everybody out there, take the summer to readjust. Mental health's a big issue for a lot of people out there. This is the time now where you can do great things. You can get out there, get that vitamin D, and reset for the upcoming school year. And remember, staff, they're going to start back around 30 July, I think it is, and then kids come back 6 August, minus a few programs like pre-K and kindergarten. So y'all definitely check out the schools that you're there for that. And I had in here to talk about the district website. Thank you very much, Ms. Thank you. And I also wanted to remind everybody, don't forget to do your annual registration. It's so easy, even I did it twice. So please do that, and that's all I got. Y'all have a great and wonderful summer.
Mr. Trapp?
Yes, I'd just like to, more than anything, just like to congratulate all the seniors all the students that have graduated this past week or so, and it was really, it's just really one of the greatest parts of being on the board is to shake all those hands and to see all those incredibly, some students are just incredibly excited and happy to be there. There's a few that had that look on the face like I knew they were thinking, I got to get a job, but hey, it's still great to know that we've provided an opportunity for you to get your diploma and you can go out there into the world and make your mark. And I would just like to encourage all of our graduates to, enjoy your summer, and those that are going to college, everything in the fall, good luck, and do your best, and everybody have a great summer. Thanks.
Ms. Williams?
I'm gonna keep it short. I just want to say, like everyone else said, thank you, Mr. Moses, for your inspirational moment today. And again, thank you for lighting the fire inside of our students, as well as us as a board. Like everyone else said, I thoroughly enjoyed my first graduation as a board member. It was great to see even former students that I've taught to hug them on the stage. So that was a moment for me as well. I also would like to, and so congratulations to the class of 2025. I also like to thank our teachers, principal staff, bus drivers, maintenance, custodian, and everybody else, staff workers as well, for all you've done for our students this year, and getting them across the finish line of ending up the school year. As everyone else said, get some rest, and we will see you next school year. Enjoy your summer, and everyone be safe. Have a great one.
Ms. Porter?
Thank you. I wanted to congratulate our 2025 graduates, and also a special shout out to my cousin, Savannah Rennick. Baby girl, you beat the odds, and you graduated a year early, and you're on your way to Hawaii Pacific University. I'm so proud of you. And I also wanted to thank our communications department for sharing about our summer meals, and also our summer school staff working over the summer, and then also posting about our different summer opportunities for our families. It's helped me as a board member as I get that question all the time. So thank you so much for what you do. And then I want to end with tight budgets, smaller hiring pool, less resources, more students, construction, student hardships, and summer lulls. These are all challenging circumstances, and they can act as a catalyst for positive change. Don't be afraid of pressure. Remember, pressure is what turns a lump of coal into a diamond. I know we will continue to do great things, Richland, too. Have a great summer.
Dr. Moore?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So yes, we've had a wonderful graduation season. It has officially come to close, and it was truly a remarkable season. Across our 5 high schools, we had more than 2,000 students proudly walk across the stage. We also had students graduating from our adult education program. We had our special education graduation. We had interns from our special education program complete their program. And altogether, I shook over 2,200 hands. That's back of the napkin numbers, but I'm pretty close based upon what the principal shared with me. Each one of these students representing a story of perseverance, achievement, and bright promise for the future. Graduation truly is a highlight of the year, a time where we witness the powerful results of years of hard work by our students, families, educators, and support team. And yes, we saw the ones that were like, ooh, I just made it, and I'm happy. We saw the ones that had, I'm going to have to go out in the world and get a job, sad face. And we saw the ones just beaming with smiles. It was truly a wonderful day. days, I should say. So congratulations to the class of 2025. Your accomplishments have made all of us very, very proud, and your futures are full of possibilities. We can't wait to see where your journey takes you next. This is joy, which is one of our core values. I know Mr. Dennis said that teachers have the summer off, but that is not true here in Richland School District 2, because we are providing comprehensive suite of summer programs in 2025, some of which started today. I gave an opening to our AVID teachers that were here for 2 days of training. So these programs over the summer will support student learning, address academic gaps, offer enrichment, and meet individual education plan requirements. Our 2025 district programs for students also start soon. So I know students have been enjoying these first couple of days, but don't get used to it, students, because we have elementary 21st century summer programs, which will be running at multiple elementary schools beginning June 2nd. We have Read to Succeed Summer Camp for third grade students starting June 2nd at Bridge Creek Elementary School. Middle school students, we haven't forgotten you. Middle level summer school starts June 9th at E.L. Wright Middle School. High school summer school starts June 9th virtually, and the Tri-District Arts Consortium program starts June 9th at Richland Northeast High School. So in addition, extended school year and summer support services are offered to our students receiving special education services on a more individualized basis. So these summer initiatives showcase Richland School District 2's commitment to addressing diverse student needs academically, artistically, and developmentally. If you would like more information, please go to our website. There's lots of information about community programs available there. You can also please contact your child's school principal for additional information on the Richland 2 programs. Now, the last day of school, there were students that were sad, glad, and some just didn't know how they felt. But officially, the 2024-2025 school year is in the books. So I want to express my deepest gratitude to our teachers, staff, administrators, students, and families. Your hard work and commitment made this a year of growth, learning, and success. Together, we navigated challenges, celebrated milestones, and stayed true to our mission of being a parent's first choice for education. To our awesome students, thank you for showing up, striving, and shining. To our staff, thank you for leading with heart and purpose. And to our entire community, enjoy a well-deserved summer break. Rest, recharge, and we will see you in August, ready to begin another incredible year. Because in Richland School District 2, we are purpose-driven so that our students are future-ready. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Moore. Once again, want to say congratulations to all of the graduates. It was so exciting to watch your families with the balloons and the shout-outs and all the photos on social media. So congratulations to you guys. Make sure you get some rest over the summer, because if you're like my grandmother and my mom, after about a month, it's time for you to go to the military, go to work, go to college, or do something, but you got to get out of the house. No, I'm just joking. But anyway, just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for the presentations this afternoon, and want to say thank you to Mr. Moses. I mean, just to watch him as a first and second year teacher over at Southeast, he just really did my heart warm, because just watching him as a teacher, I knew he was going to be an outstanding administrator. And I used to stay in his ear, motivating him, saying, I know I can't wait to see you as an administrator. And you know, sometimes we plant those seeds, and it's so exciting to see those seeds grow. So just want to say, Mr. Moses, thank you so much for what you do and what you're going to continue to do. And it just really resonated with me when he talked about the village, because sometimes we don't have the village like we used to. And we need to go back to the village. But I'm just going to focus on this one quote that came to mind when Mr. Moses was up there. And it says, helping one person might not change the world, but it could change the world for one person. And I hope we all remember that. We can't save everyone, but the one person we save can change and be a change agent in the world. So thank you so much. And with that said, may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Madam Chair?
Yes,
I
Mr.
move to
Dennis.
adjourn the meeting.
Gosh, he didn't even give me a chance to say yes, Mr. Dennis. Okay, the motion has been made by Mr. Dennis. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been made by Mr. Dennis and second by Mrs. Washington. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, board members vote. We're going to take a hand vote. All in favor, raise your right hand. The motion is 6 yes, 0 no. The motion passes. The meeting stands adjourned. Thank you.